Today we are diving into the most epic story ever told. It's the story of us. We're going to journey from our very earliest ancestors, 3 million years in the past, all the way to 1,000 years into our possible future. I mean, think about it. These are the big ones, right? The two questions that have driven humanity forever. They're really the backbone of the story we're exploring today. A story of survival, of genius, and of constant, relentless change. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with Lucy and the very first steps our ancestors took. Then, we'll meet the skillful human and see how tools changed the game. After that, it's all about the upright human, fire, and the first great journey. Then we get to us and our fascinating relatives. And finally, we'll take a leap into the next millennium.
All right, let's rewind the clock, way back. Our story kicks off right here, in Africa, with a species called Australopithecus, and we know them best because of one of the most important fossil discoveries ever, a female skeleton they nicknamed Lucy.
Just let that number sink in for a minute. 3 million years. This isn't just ancient history. This is something else entirely. It's deep time. And this was the world that Lucy and her kind had to figure out how to survive in.
And what a world it was. Life for these early folks was just brutal and short. You had giant crocodiles in the water, saber-toothed cats on the plains, even huge predatory birds were a threat. And get this statistic is staggering. 90%, 90, of the Australopithecus fossils we find show signs of a violent death. Survival wasn't the norm, it was the miracle.
So how on earth did they manage it? They adapted, and the fossil record shows us this really critical change. See, their ape cousins had these powerful shoulders, perfect for swinging through the trees. But Lucy's species, their shoulders were weaker, and that tells us something huge. They were spending more time on the ground. It was an incredibly dangerous move, leaving the safety of the branches. But it was the very first step toward becoming us.
And this is where you can really see their intelligence starting to spark. They figured out that there was nutritious food, like roots, buried in the ground. A simple idea, but it's a cognitive leap modern chimps still haven't really made. They started intentionally shaping stones, sharpening them to create tools, and they used these tools for something absolutely genius, cracking open the bones left over from predator kills to get to the calorie-packed marrow inside. It was a food source nobody else could get to.
This growing ingenuity really set the stage for the next major leap. After about 1 million years of struggle and clever new tricks, a new kind of human ancestor appears on the scene, Homo habilis.
Homo habilis literally means skillful human or handyman. Now they were named this because for the longest time, scientists believed they were the first ones to make tools. We now know Lucy's kind did it first, but here's the key difference. With Homo habilis, tool making went mainstream. It became a widespread skill, not just the work of a few geniuses.
And the engine driving all this change? It was right here, inside the skull. You can see the jump plain as day. The brain of Australopithecus was about 400 cubic centimeters. With Homo habilis, it leaped up to 600. That's a 50% increase, a huge upgrade in processing power. And you can see the changes all over their bodies. They got taller, their faces became a bit flatter, more like our own, and this one is huge. Their legs grew longer, making them much better runners. So they weren't just smarter, they were becoming faster and more physically capable too. Okay, so the next chapter belongs to a real game changer, Homo erectus, the upright human. This is the ancestor that took 2 absolutely massive leaps that would define the entire future of our species.
And it all kicked off with another brain power explosion. Their brain capacity doubled again, hitting an incredible 1,200 cubic centimeters. I mean, to put that in perspective, the average modern human brain is about 1,350. We are getting remarkably close.
So, what do you do with a bigger brain? Well, you harness fire. And this might be the single most important discovery in all of human history. Cooking food unlocked way more nutrients, which in turn fueled even more brain growth. It gave them a circle of light and safety in the dark, keeping predators away. And of course, fire meant warmth, which allowed them to do something no ancestor had ever done before.
They left home. For the very first time in our evolutionary story, our lineage walked out of Africa. With the warmth of fire, Homo erectus started to spread across Asia, across Europe. They became the planet's first globetrotters.
Now we're going to jump forward to a time that feels much closer. A time when our own species, Homo sapiens, was not alone.
We actually shared the world with our closest and definitely most famous extinct relatives, the Neanderthals. Okay, first thing, just forget that old stereotype of the brutish, knuckle-dragging caveman. The fossil record tells a very different story. Take Nandi, a Neanderthal fossil. This individual had suffered some devastating injuries, a blow to the head that likely blinded him in one eye, a shattered arm that was basically useless, and yet he lived for years with these disabilities. That's powerful proof that his family group cared for him, kept him alive. That's complex social behavior. That's empathy.
But if they were so intelligent and social, why did they vanish? Well, a leading theory comes down to something pretty simple: fuel economy. Their stocky, muscular bodies were like biological furnaces. A male Neanderthal needed a staggering 7,000 calories a day to keep going. A modern human male, we need about 3,000. We were simply more fuel efficient.
And here is the most fascinating final twist to their story. They aren't entirely gone. Genetic analysis has proven that our ancestors met and interbred with Neanderthals. And that means most humans alive today whose ancestry comes from outside of Africa carry a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA. Their story is woven directly into our own genetic code.
And that brings us to the final chapter. We've looked back millions of years, so now let's flip the script and look forward. Let's ask a daring question. What does the next 1,000 years hold for Homo sapiens?
Well, based on current ambitions, we can sketch out a potential timeline. There are serious goals for a self-sustaining colony on Mars by 2050. Within a century, the age of fossil fuels will almost certainly be over. And 1,000 years from now, in 3025, it's very possible humanity will no longer be a single-planet species. That would be a change just as profound as when our ancestors first walked out of Africa. But the biggest evolutionary pressure might not come from the environment, but from our own creations. As artificial intelligence gets exponentially more powerful, a really serious question starts to emerge. Will we need to merge with AI just to keep up?
And this path, it splits into two very different futures. The promise sounds like a utopia. And then to disabilities, the ability to learn anything instantly to solve problems we can't even comprehend today. But the peril is just as profound. What happens when a human brain can be hacked? And if AI does all our thinking for us, does our own intelligence start to wither away? Do we devolve?
Which leaves us with one final, kind of haunting thought. Our entire 3 million year story, from Lucy hiding from predators to us building civilizations, has been defined by struggle, by overcoming challenges, by adapting to survive. So what happens to us? What do we become? In a future where we might just solve all of our problems and there's nothing left to struggle against.